Once upon a time, there was an old woman who lived up on the mountain in a cabin all by herself. She didn't trust anyone to be close by. She had a few chickens. She lived very meagerly. Rarely went into town. Didn't have any friends who stopped by. She kept to herself, and she liked it that way. As I said, she didn't trust anyone. Well, folks down in the village at the foot of the mountain, then they'd see her come in all dressed in black. She'd come in for few provisions from time to time. And she got older, and she got thinner. And possibly she got meaner, but no one had much to do with her, so they didn't really know. But there were stories, as there are, around people who live on the edges. Well, in the village, there was a mother who had 2 daughters. And the oldest daughter, well, she thought a great deal of herself. She loved beauty if it had to do with her adornment, her complexion, her clothes. And she spent a lot of time looking in the mirror. Now, the younger sister loved beauty as well, but it was all directed outward, at the flowers, at the tall grasses, at the mountains, at the sky and the stars, at the animals and the bird song. Oh, she loved it all. There was so much beauty in the world. Now, the older sister was curious about things that would benefit her. She was curious about new makeups and new brushes for her hair and new clothes that might be a better fit for her figure. The younger daughter was very curious too. What's behind that tree? Why does the bird make that sound? What could I find if I dug here and played in the dirt there and jumped over that creek, climbed that tree? Oh, she was always out and about in the world, discovering wonderful things. Well, as is the way of life, they were both growing older, and it came time for the older sister to go out in the world and do some work before she would marry and run her own house. Well, she didn't want to go work for anybody. No, she wanted to just be taken care of because she was beautiful. She wanted things just to come easy. She didn't want to work. And when her mother told her that the old woman who lived up on the mountain, dressed all in black and came down so rarely and was so kept to herself, that she had been asking in town for a girl to come up and help her keep the house, and her mother had said she would go, she was horrified. She didn't want to go. I don't want to do that. I don't want to work for somebody, and especially not that old woman. But she had to go. And in the end, she packed up a little bag of things and off she trudged up the mountain behind that old woman. Well, it was just as bad as that girl had feared. He wanted her to feed the chickens. She wanted her to sweep the floor and cook. And she didn't like doing any of it, and she wasn't very good at it. She didn't like the chickens. They were dirty, dirty birds. And she would fling the grain so far that the chickens had to scratch for it all over the yard, and they started to lay fewer eggs. And sweeping, well, she just made big clouds of dust. Didn't really get much out of the house at all. And the old woman, she figured that was just about how she expected it to go. Can't trust anybody to do a good bit of work or to be pleasant. No, can't. Can't trust them at all. So she was kind of in a good mood because she'd been proved right. And they got on all right together. Well, it came time for the old woman to go back down into town for more provisions, and she said, "Now, girl, while I'm gone, don't look up the chimney." And off she went. Why? Why did she say that? That girl had no intention of looking up the chimney, but now that she'd been told not to, it's the first thing she did. As soon as that old woman was out of sight down the road, she went straight to the chimney and looked up. There was a bag of some sort on a little shelf up in the chimney. And she grabbed the poker and she knocked it down, and it was a long leather bag filled with gold and silver coins. "I'm rich," she said. "I don't need to stay here." And she flung that bag of money over her shoulder and took off down the road, other direction from town. Well, she traveled on and she traveled on, and eventually she came to a field where there was a cow in the center of the field. And the cow called out to her, "Oh, little girl, would you please come milk me? The farmer forgot, and I'm so sore." "No, I don't have to. I'm rich." And she went off down the road. She'd gone another little ways when she saw a bake oven in the middle of a field. And the bake oven called out to her, "Oh, little girl, please come take the loaves of bread out of me. The baker has forgot, and they're going to burn." "No, I don't have to. I'm rich." And off she continued down the road. Well, she came around another bend, and there was a peach tree. Beautiful peach tree, but all kinds of clinging vines and weeds had grown up and were choking the peach tree and pulling its branches down towards the ground. "Oh, little girl," called the peach tree, "would you please come and weed me and free my branches? I'll give you a peach." "No, I don't have to do any work. I'm rich, but I will have some peaches." And she started to gobble down peaches. And then she climbed up in the tree so she could just reach them easily. And she sat there in the branches, stuffing herself with peaches. And then, well, don't you know, she fell asleep. Well, that old woman, she came back from town, and as she came into the cabin, it felt really quiet. And she called out, "Little girl? Little girl?" Oh, and she ran straight to the chimney, and she looked up, and Gallymanders, Gallymanders, all my gold and silver's gone, my great long leather bag. And she went running off down the road. Well, pretty soon she came to the cow in that field. "Oh, cow, did you see a girl go by with a jig and a jag and a long leather bag and all my gold and silver?" And the cow said, "I certainly did. She passed by not too long ago." "Oh, Gallymanders, Gallymanders, all my gold and silver is gone, my great long leather bag." Well, she came up to the bake oven. She said, "Bake oven, did you see a girl go by with a jig and a jag and a long leather bag and all my gold and silver?" And the bake oven said, "I certainly did. You could catch her if you just hurry on down the road." "Oh, Gallymanders, Gallymanders." And she hurried down the road, and she came to that peach tree. And she said, "Peach tree, did you see a girl go by with a jig and a jag and a long leather bag and all my gold and silver?" And the peach tree just shook itself and shook that girl right down into the road. Thump! There she was, with the long leather bag and all. Well, that old woman, she grabbed her bag of money, and she grabbed up a switch, and she switched that girl right out of the story. Well, she went back home, and it was a long time before she would risk getting any more help. But she was getting on, and she was tired, and she needed a little help with the sweeping and the cooking and the cleaning and the chickens and the... Oh, well, she would try again, but she didn't expect much. Well, it was the younger sister's turn to come try her luck out in the world. Well, she came skipping along behind that old woman up the mountain to the house. Oh, what a beautiful little cabin, she thought to herself, and she swept it nice and tidy. She picked some wildflowers, put in a vase on the middle of the kitchen table. She freshened up the curtains at the window. Oh, she loved the chickens, called them all by name, and cluck, cluck, cluck to them, fed them right by the kitchen door. And they began laying more and more eggs, and there was plenty of food to eat. But the old woman wasn't very happy about it. She was suspicious. What did the girl have up her sleeve? Why was she being so nice? There must be something that she was hiding. And so they didn't actually get on that well, although the young girl was very curious and happy to be exploring all around the cabin. And things went on in this way until it was time for the old woman to go down to town for more provisions. And when she was leaving, she said, "Little girl, while I'm gone, don't look up the chimney." And off she went down into town. Now, that girl hadn't been thinking about the chimney, but now it was in her mind, and she couldn't get it out. And she was sweeping and found herself, wonder what's up there that she doesn't want me to see. No, but I'm not going to look. She said, "Don't look up the chimney." So she went outside and she sat on the stoop and looked at the chickens. I could just take a small look. She wouldn't know I'd just peeked. I'm so curious. Oh, just a wee look won't hurt anything. And so she came and she peered up the chimney. And there was something up on a shelf. Well, I'll put it back once I've seen what it is. And so she got the poker and she pulled the bag down and she opened it up and gold and silver coins. They were beautiful. They were just so beautiful. She poured them all out on the cabin floor, and she made stacks with them. All for an hour she played with the money, and the sunlight through the windows caught and made it shimmer and shine, and it was just so beautiful. And then she put it all back in the bag and put it back up on the shelf. But it fell off. So she put the bag back up there, and fell off. And she tried over and over again, so many times, and it wouldn't stay on the shelf. And the old woman would know she'd looked. And so she ran away. She just ran away, ran out the door and down the road. And as she went, she passed that field where the cow was, and the cow called out, "Little girl, would you come milk me? The farmer forgot, and I'm so sore." Okay, but I'm in such a hurry. I'll have to milk you really quickly. And so she milked the cow as fast as she could, and the cow said, "Thank you. You may take a drink if you'd like." Oh, thank you so much," said the girl, and she took a big gulp of that fresh milk, and then she hurried on down the road. Well, she came to the bake oven, who called out to her, little girl, would you come take the loaves out of me? The baker forgot, and they're going to burn." "Oh, I'm in such a rush," said the girl, but I can do that much for you." And so she ran over there, and she carefully pulled the loaves out of the oven and laid them out on some fresh dry grass to cool. And the bake oven said, "Oh, thank you. You may take a loaf for yourself." "Oh, thank you so much," said the girl. And she wrapped up one of the loaves in her apron, and on she went down the road. Well, then she came to the peach tree. "Oh, little girl, would you please pull up these weeds that are choking me? I'll give you a peach." "Oh, I'm in such a hurry," said the girl, but, oh, you do look really pulled down to the ground. Let me see what I can do." And she began to pull up the weeds and pull down the clinging vines, and the peach tree could stretch out and lift up its branches. And the girl climbed up into the tree, ate a peach, and fell asleep. Well, that old woman came home, and she called out, "Little girl?" No answer. "Just as I thought," said that old woman, and she went and she looked up the chimney. "Oh, Gallymanders, She didn't think to look down. She didn't see the long leather bag in the ashes of the fireplace. No, it wasn't where it was supposed to be. And so she didn't see it and didn't look anywhere else. And off she went, running down the road. Gallymanders, all my gold and silver's gone, my great long leather bag." And she came to the cow. "Oh, cow, did you see a girl go by with a jig and a jag and a long leather bag and all my gold and silver?" The cow said, "Yeah, sometimes days go by and I don't see a soul." Oh, the old woman wasn't sure what to do, but, well, there's nothing for it but to just keep going, and on she went down the road. She came to the bake oven. "Oh, bake oven, did you see a girl go by with a jig and a jag and a long leather bag and all my gold and silver?" "I don't know that I've seen anybody today," said the bake oven. "Where could the girl have gone?" said the woman. Gallymanders, all my gold and silver's gone, my great long leather bag." Well, she ran and ran till she came to the peach tree. "Peach tree, did you see a girl go by with a jig and a jag and a long leather bag and all my gold and silver?" "Nobody's gone by all day," said the peach tree. Which was true, because the girl was still asleep in the peach tree, hadn't gone by at all. Well, the old woman kept running. Gallymanders. And she kept running till she was nothing but skin and bones, and finally nothing left but bones, running down the road, calling, Gallymanders. And I think she's running still. As for that girl, when she woke up, she stretched and she thanked the peach tree and took a couple peaches for the road, because the peach tree said she could, and on she went. And no, she never went back to look for the gold and the silver. No, once you've started on your way, there's no going back. But she had no need of that gold and silver. What she had was a love of beauty and a curiosity, and it took her far into the world. And from what I've heard, she's doing very well.